All right, we're going to now give you an update, the very latest on the floods emergency across Queensland and northern New South Wales. Two reporters on the ground on standby for you in some of the hardest hit areas. Sky News reporter Adam Walters is in Brisbane. Sky News reporter Kenny Heatley in Grafton. Adam, I tell you, I was there on Saturday. I've never seen rain like it. To you first, how bad's the situation in Brisbane?
It was incredible, wasn't it, Peter? To say biblical was almost an understatement. And today, by way of surreal contrast, Queensland was delivering on the final day of summer with blazing sunshine and blue skies, but no one was bathing in it. It only served to illuminate the true proportions of what is, by any definition, a shocking disaster just on the numbers alone. In fact, the weather today, in contrast to a 3 days, 72 hours of misery and mayhem and tragedy, and there was no more devastating figure to emerge from that than the death toll. 8 people have died. On top of that, 15,000 homes have suffered some form of flood damage. 1,500 people displaced in emergency accommodation. 1,000 schools closed. A holiday of sorts for children, although it stretches things to describe it as such, I guess. And the transport system crippled. Buses and trains out of action. Thousands of roads closed. The statistics just keep piling up. And you've got the major dam, Wivenhoe, at 180% capacity. That's all its flood allotment and drinking water combined in that strange-sounding figure. It conjures image of an overflow, but it's well beneath the top of the dam wall. But it certainly has been tumultuous. The Premier today, interestingly, expressed sympathy for southeast Queenslanders who have only just been dealing with the hundreds of COVID deaths that have happened since the arrival of Omicron. And now we have 8 people dying. That's one more than the total number of people who died from COVID for more than 2 years. So it's been a lot to deal with for southeast Queenslanders.
Goodness me, I didn't realise that the COVID deaths were less than the events in the last couple of days. That is a very sobering number. Thank you, Adam. Kenny, what's the latest out of Lismore?
Peter, it's touch and go and it's minute by minute in reality, and the real focus is just rescuing as many people as possible who are still trapped on their roofs and have been there for the entire day, and we've only got a little bit of daylight left, and you know there's the real risk that these people have been out in the rain all day and that hypothermia could set in. Earlier we had a figure that there was maybe 200 that needed to be rescued, but I spoke to the SES about 20 minutes ago and they said we just don't know the full number. And we had an unprecedented amount of rain that just went straight into the Wilson River. 467 millimetres fell in Lismore in 24 hours. We have never seen that before. And because it just flowed straight into the rivers, because the whole system is just completely saturated, it caused the river to rise in levels that we've never seen before, even exceeding the 1954 flood record. And it got up and over 14.3 metres at Lismore in the Wilson River. That's over 2 metres higher than the previous record, completely swamping the flood levee, and it entirely swallowed houses and the entire centre of town. We've got some pictures that we can show you of a nursing home of about 90 residents that have been evacuated, carried out, draped in sheets and carried out. The entire nursing home just completely surrounded in water. The situation with the weather is that in Lismore it's eased up a little bit and it's allowed helicopters to get in and start to assist. Earlier the weather was just so bad that they couldn't get to them by air. The only way they could get to them by boat. But further south, I'm in Grafton on the mid-north coast. The Clarence River here is swelling and the rain is just relentless. The problem is that as this weather system continues to track south, it may just engulf further areas south in this major flood event. And we've got an evacuation warning here for parts of the mid-north coast, including for the Grafton area. So it is another very touch-and-go night for the New South Wales coast tonight.
Adam Walters, Kenny Heatley, stay safe you too. I tell you, you're right amongst it there. And if you're home and you're safe and you're dry tonight, spare a thought for those people on the roof as dusk comes in, waiting to be rescued with rising floodwaters. I can't think of anything more terrifying. We'll stay across these issues today and tomorrow and into the week.